because less than 3% of you people read books. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. You're beginning to believe the illusions. This is mass madness, you maniac. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Idiotbox Television. I'm Troy Everett.
I'm VP.
Oh, I'm sorry. Drummer's on the move. Let me unmute him real quick. Go ahead, Drum.
I'm Drummer.
Yeah, he's on the move right now. He's mobile. As you can see, you could be on your mobile device and still come on the show. I just posted the Green Room link. So if you want to come on the show, make sure you click that Green Room link. And you can be in the car like Drummer and partake into this Ghetto Fabulous podcast that we're getting ready to do. What we're going to talk about, we'll talk about that in a quick minute, but we got to go ahead and get to our roll call. Where you at? Where you tuning in from? I see that we got Christy Brown. Hey, how you doing? We're doing good over here.
Oh, faithful Christy.
Oh, faithful Christy. We got Sheena.
Everyone.
Sheena Brown. She's made it.
No.
Yeah, no. Since Drummer is the sound effects guy, we don't have any sound effects.
Yes, we do. I'm gonna do them out.
And we got the beautiful birthday lady, Deborah Jones. Happy birthday, Mama Jones.
Happy birthday. I called you. You didn't answer.
You answer the dang phone when your son calls you. What's wrong with you? Happy birthday. We love you.
Yeah, happy birthday.
What's crack-a-lackin'? We've got Art Ryan all the way from who knows where Art's at. Art could be in any place in the southern region because he's that important. That important. He's always traveling.
Right.
Gary Brown. Hey, Gary. Mr. Brown. I'm sorry. Mr. Brown, thank you for joining into the podcast. What we're going to be talking about is going to be pretty cool today. We'd like to get a lot of you to talk about what we're going to talk about. It's really interesting. Oh yes, no problem. Thank you for supporting.
Yes, we appreciate it.
Oh, he's at home. Art is at home in Knoxville. So he's at home tonight. Good. He's spending time with the family.
Okay.
That's good to see.
Okay, in California.
Right, and enjoy your time at home, Art Ryan.
Yes, enjoy your time, Art. Relax. Kick your feet up. Have you a cold one.
Yeah, so again, we'd like to thank everybody joining. Make sure if you haven't yet to go ahead and share the video so we can expand the conversation. I know it's Thursday night, and Thursday night football is going to come on. It's a pretty good game, but we got more important things to tackle here on Idiotbox Television. Am I right, Sharif?
Yeah.
Yeah, you right? Yep.
We're talking the ghetto.
The ghetto.
I think we all know something about the ghetto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what we want to talk about is first where it actually derives from. Can you explain on that, Drummer?
Well, actually, the ghetto was first based around Jews. They were put in the bubble of the ghetto at first, and I guess when they came and kidnapped us, then they threw us in the ghetto.
Yeah. So during the time of the Holocaust, the Jews were rounded up and put into certain areas, and the Nazi Germany. Throughout that time frame, they called that the ghetto. A lot of the Jews had to wear the Star of David to let them know that they were Jews, and they were really treated badly. And so that's where it came from. But it seems like all those that have been persecuted end up in what we call the ghetto.
Yep.
Right.
And that's what we want to talk about. Me and Prince were bending curves, and I couldn't answer the phone. Oh, she was on her bike, drummer.
Yep. She was doing a birthday ride.
Yeah. And Jackie, hey, thanks for coming on, Jackie. We see you. We lost drummer again. He's on the move, so we got to keep going. Drummer, y'all family don't know nothing about the ghetto. Y'all bougie. The Browns are bougie. So she says you're bougie, Cherie.
Bougie. Well, I'll tell you what. I do know about the ghetto, because for one, I was born in the hood, and moved out to the outside of the hood, which is in the suburb. Then I came back in the hood on my free time. With then when I was able to drive, I really came back to the hood, because in the hood, which is the ghetto, they you can learn a lot from them, and it helps you in life too. I always say that ghetto is my teacher.
Yeah.
And every little thing in there that you don't have to do. But some things that you see for yourself, you're like, well, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. Or you can do that, and you can put it in yourself.
Right. I think there's a lot of it that can be taught. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. DJ Drumtastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of things that I think we've all learned growing up in the ghetto. My mom doesn't like us to call it the ghetto because it's a derogatory. She says it's a derogatory term. So inner city. Okay, Mom, inner city. In the inner city, and there's a lot to be learned. And what we want for this subject matter, we want to know what's going on with the inner city. How come we have, if you've looked at the post earlier today, we've been posting all day. How come we have a gun store, liquor store, church, and bail bondsmen all over, but we don't have any black-owned businesses? So that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Christy says, now I'm ghetto. I was raised in the ghetto. Well, where's that at? We really like to know what ghetto you were raised in.
There's all different type of ways about ghetto. As far as like one thing I say, people use the do-rag. They wear do-rag in the public. For the men, that's ghetto. And another thing is we call it the bonnet for the female, and they wear it out in the public, that's ghetto. But at the same time, they don't want to get their hair done. Hair messed up. They're trying to keep their hair clean for whatever they wanted to do later.
There's definitely some things that you can see in the ghetto that you don't see anywhere else. One thing that's a pet peeve of mine that I see is when you're at the store and somebody's on the speakerphone conducting business or talking, that drives me nuts. That's ghetto.
Loud.
You know how they when people talk and stuff, they like I say what up, dog? Like yo, and, stuff like that. That right there is part of ghetto too.
Well, no, I think that's part of a culture. I don't think that's part of the ghetto. I think that's just part of black culture. The way we talk, we have different dialects. People in Detroit say "What up, no," and people down south say a whole totally different thing. I think that's just part of the culture in which you were raised. What we want to talk about is the infrastructure of the inner city. Not really. Not to call ourselves ghetto because that's culture. That's just our culture. What we want to talk about is what's going on in the ghetto. How come we don't see more assistance for those who need help in the ghetto? With the Biden administration, they passed a law. If you guys have looked on the Facebook page, where we're supposed to get funding. Well, not we, but the inner city are supposed to get funding to help Black businesses, Black entrepreneurs uh, schools, and things of that sort. But where's this money going? If you guys are paying attention to the post, it's going to Brett Favre.
Yes, exactly. I saw that.
It's going to Brett Favre. So Brett Favre, this was 5 years ago, but it's come to light now that in Mississippi, the poorest state in the union, where
Yeah.
Jackson was at, that we were talking about, they have the water problems. They had money. I think it was $77 million where they misappropriated those funds and funneled them to people like Brett Favre. Brett
Yep.
Favre received $5 million from the state of Mississippi to build a gym at Ole Miss where his daughter is going to be playing volleyball.
Yep.
Wow.
Now, I think it's $5.5 million was supposed to go to the inner city, but because of the corrupt politicians that we have, $77 million of misappropriated funds. That's a lot of money. Jackson, Mississippi would have clean water right now if those funds were properly distributed.
Right.
32.
So if you ever watch Swamp People, where I was raised, one of those guys on the show is married to my friend, classmate. That's us. I don't think that's ghetto. I think that's just swamp people. I think that's just swamp people. Yeah, eating
Well,
gators and stuff like that.
The difference that you can tell between your mom said not to ghetto but low income
Southern Miss.
is
Southern Miss. Thank you, Art, for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. It was Southern Miss. Go ahead. Sorry, drummer.
it's all right. I'm saying you can tell the difference when you get in the low income because you could just be driving, trees are cut, grass is cut, no trash, and then about 5 minutes later you're like, what is all this trash and littering and trees haven't been cut? You can tell the difference because the neighborhoods are not clean in the low income areas. They're just trashed. People throwing stuff out the window, and they don't have crews that come through and clean up those areas like they do non-low income areas.
Right.
Yeah.
And when we talk about non-low income areas, that's not just where Black people live. Let's
No.
get that straight.
No.
Let's get that straight as a fact right now. Go ahead, Sharif.
There's some abandoned houses, a lot of abandoned houses out there, and a lot of abandoned houses. A lot of abandoned houses. My bad. There's a lot of abandoned houses out there. And a lot of white folks are coming over there and buying them up. Fixing them up. And our community. So, got away with the hood part. Very valuable. So a lot of people are coming over here and want to take over now. So they put in all the black out. So with still the red line in the middle of it, So I'm sure they're gonna change that later, But at the same time, we are valued, But a lot of people don't know that, but we are valued,
Yeah, that's called judgification. That happens all the time. I mean, they drive down the price of the property in a certain area. I remember Division when I was living there. Division was terrible. It was a terrible place, and they drove down all of the prices down on Division. Now Division is the place to be, if I'm not mistaken. We lost drummer again. I think he's probably at one of those green lights and cut his phone off. But yeah, it's we want to find out where these funds are going and access to these funds. So Christy is going on a rant tonight. In my city, we have those shotgun houses. You walk in the front door and you can look straight through the back door. Gary clowns us all the time. He says my town looks like bottom of the heat of the night. Yeah, there's some of those. Yeah, we got those all over the country. Art says home ownership is key. Yes, Art, home ownership is key, regardless of demographic. Communities tend to come together more when the community threads and holds together. And that's so true. I mean, Sharif owns, I own, drummer owns, Art owns. It's a part of it's a part of, you know, gaining wealth. It's your home is an investment. And speaking of investment, that's a great segue. Thank you, Art. Next week, just want to put this promo out there. Next week, we're going to have Joya come. She did such a great job last week, or the last time she was on. Joya is
Okay.
a professional. Um, I guess you would say a professional not literacy, financial literacy coach. So she'll be on again next week. We're going to go more in depth about, because it is National Life Insurance Month. So we're going to go more in depth about life insurance. So make sure you tune in next week. As we have her on, she's going to bring us up to speed on some of the things when it has to do with life insurance. Shameless plug right there. It worked out very well. Thank you, Art, for helping us out.
Thank you.
But yeah, he said ownership is key. And not only that, but you know, there's a couple of facts that'll be going across the screen on the bottom. You know, many black neighborhoods are consumer deserts, is what they call them, that need greater access to goods, services, housing, healthcare, and broadband. You know, not everybody has the internet, like you know, and banking. So we're definitely got to figure out how to get those funds to the city. Art says, when is Mohammed coming back on?
Okay.
When is Mohammed coming back? Life insurance and all. We're going to get Mohammed back on too. Man, it would be great to have them both on. Get them both on. So we'll reach out to Mohammed. Again, we had him in the beginning stages of Idiotbox Television. He's a State Farm insurance owner. He owns his own company. Has great information, does a great job explaining it. So yeah, we'll definitely get him back on too, Art. Christy says, okay, I'm gonna be quiet. No, that's what we want. We want people to interact. We want people to interact, but don't be quiet, Christy.
You know what I noticed that all the signs that be Black Lives Matter, you know, that be on the grass and stuff in front of the house, and most of them, 90% of them is not black.
90%. 90%? Are you just throwing numbers out, Sharif?
It seems like it.
Oh, okay, yeah, you can't be throwing percentages out
and
there.
Stuff, and you see people outside in front of their yard, it's not black.
Yeah. Well, I have my
and black need to start come together.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah, not just blacks, people in general. You know, and I think that's the reason why. Look, there's impoverished white people just like there's impoverished black people. But the problem is poverty. The problem is poverty. The poor are getting poorer and the richer are getting richer. It doesn't matter if you're yellow, black, green, brown, polka dot with purple stripes. Poverty is a problem here in the United States. And that's what we want to tackle. I mean, it's broad when we say ghetto. I mean, we talk about our experience, Sharif, you know, you and I, because that's what we know, right? But there's a lot of people out there that are still poverty ridden. Here in Daytona Beach, Florida, all the vagabonds are of Caucasian color. You rarely see a black person on the corner begging for money. Most of the people here in Daytona Beach, and you know, I would say it's a 50-50 split when it comes to demographics between white and black. Most of the people that are struggling here are white. So it's a human problem. It's a humanity problem. It's not just a racial problem.
Right.
But there is some systemic racism and stuff like that adds fuel to the fire, especially for those of color, and we got to acknowledge that. I didn't see London out there today. I didn't realize you lived in Daytona. That's our vacation spot every year. Yeah, Daytona is where I'm at. I'm like up the street in Ormond Beach. Love it here. It's really good. Jody J has made it on the show. Hey Jody, we're talking about the ghetto. You should be you should fit right in, brother. But we're talking about why is it that the ghetto or in inner city or impoverished areas cannot get money. Made the claim that Brett Favre is getting all the money, and different nonprofit organizations are getting money funneled to them that are supposed to help these impoverished areas, but they don't get the money at all. She's on her way home from work now, Uncle Troy. Okay. She better hurry up and get on the show. We're talking about London, but we want to hear from you guys. What do you think some of the options that we have to help those that are stuck in those type of environments? You know, what do you think, Sharif?
Yeah, man, there's a lot in there that needs to be done, but I don't know, it's been going on like this for years, but now we started seeing it, they're throwing it on the internet and stuff, but before it was always hidden,
Right.
So now it's coming out, so yeah, we need to find a better way to help the community or the ghetto or just in the city,
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's gonna be a tough one. That's a tough one. But there's a lot going on in there. With the money.
Right.
Money-wise. But to me, I think it's simple. You got that kind of money. Where you coming from, or if you're not coming from, then you see something that's poor. Why not put the money in there because it's tax write-off anyway.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's all depends on their heart, I guess.
Yeah. And that's kind of weird that you don't see more people giving to help other people. Like I said, the rich get richer, the poor are getting poorer in this day and age. The Reagan trickle down in economics did not work. Nothing is trickling. Ours says, I'll use me as an example. Many people who get out don't go back to help. I can't tell you the last time I did anything for my old neighborhood. Kind of sad, honestly. Yeah, Art, and I mean, that's, hey, I think we're all guilty of that. Um, but if we come together, like you said, as a community and take all of our resources and bring them together, I think we could make a huge difference. I think everybody can make a huge difference. We've got away from it takes, the phrase used to be, it takes a village to raise a child. Now we don't have anybody raising the children. They're closing down schools in Grand Rapids. Well, actually consolidating them, right? There he is. They're actually consolidating some of the schools in the public schools in Grand Rapids now and closing them down. I don't know if it's because they don't have enough students to go there or what it may be, but there should be access to a good education in the inner city.
Right.
Especially with all the companies that are in the inner city. Like if you think about Grand Rapids, Michigan, downtown Grand Rapids, you got the, what is it called? The Amway Center.
Yeah. I used to deliver there.
Amway.
You've got a lot of huge companies downtown Grand Rapids that are paying out a lot of taxes. So why isn't that money being distributed through the boroughs of Grand Rapids, Michigan?
They're not paying a lot of taxes. We all know big corporations don't pay much taxes.
Go ahead, preach, drummer.
They don't. They don't pay much taxes. We all know that. You might as well say the DeVosses and they own Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that they own the Orlando Magic basketball team.
Yeah.
And that that stadium that they have in Grand Rapids, they were trying to move Orlando to Grand Rapids. I remember that because I used to deliver to their spot, and a guy told me they're trying to, but Orlando was like no, and Grand Rapids was like no.
No, I
Well,
don't think. I didn't think Grand Rapids had enough people to actually do that. You know, Sheena said there's a shortage of education everywhere. Yeah, and I think that's by design. I mean, if you have a dumb public, if you have a stupid public, then you know you definitely don't need. You can basically tell them what to do. We've got a guest coming on. Let's bring him on in.
Oh, there we go. Hobo.
Uh,
That's my homie from Long Beach.
what's going
LBC.
on? We appreciate you coming on, Bobo. It's Bobo, right?
Hobo.
Yeah, hobo. H-O-B-O.
Hobo. H-O-B-O. Hobo. We appreciate you coming on, brother.
Thank you. Let me grab me some earphones right quick, 'cause I can barely hear you, brother.
Okay.
I want Hobo to come on and just talk about where he came from and where he is now in life.
Okay.
Because Ghetto
$1 million minimum for an NBA franchise, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they wouldn't be able to get that in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's just not. It's not. The city wasn't big enough.
Exactly.
There's London. London made it on. Appreciate you, London.
Hello, London.
Hey, Hobo, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now?
You, brothers. I'm trying to connect right now.
Okay.
Hello?
We hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, but you guys are very low.
Okay.
Okay. Turn up your phone. Maybe it's what you want. Turn it up. Did it pause? Did he pause?
Yeah, it looks like he paused. Maybe he's got a bad connection.
Yeah, probably so.
So if you're still watching Hobo, just go out and come back in. So we're gonna kick you out, and then you come back in, and everything should be working. This is normally what happens on this platform.
Right.
Oh, all right. All right.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Can you hear us?
Okay.
I can hear you, but I'm trying to hear you on my earphone piece so I can get it louder. It's like, where do I go?
You got your
phone turned up all the way?
I got it turned up all the way.
I don't know what to say then. Let me think.
Yeah.
Try your speaker on the phone instead of the earphones.
Well, he said that was really low too. So.
Oh. Okay, so we'll try to talk a little louder. Is that better?
Yeah, he still can't hear us very well. You can't hear us at all? Yeah. So go out and come back in.
Yeah.
So if you want to text him, drummer, I'm gonna go ahead.
Go ahead.
Kick him
go
out.
out and come back in. Send him out and then come back.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to text him and let him know to come back in, everything will probably work out pretty well. But yeah, we were what did Art say here? Hey, drummer, side convo. Did you know Leslie Count Fisher from Grand Rapids, old jazz musician? He's texting right now. I'm pretty sure his father did.
Yeah, my father probably did.
Yeah.
No.
So while we wait for Hobo to come back on, put some more information up here. There's a lot of African American organizations to know, and there they are down below. So if you guys want to research those different organizations that help out the inner city, here he's back on. How about now, Hobo? You can hear us good now?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear now in my earphones.
All right, great.
Okay.
Now, one of the reasons why I wanted Hobo to come on, I wanted to talk about what you talk about on your Facebook page, like where you came from to where you are now. I think that has a lot to do with the ghetto or inner cities where we all live. You know, I'm Wesley Drive and you was Salt Lake.
Oh yeah.
So,
pretty much, I come from a rough area, a rough patch, the hood, what they call the ghetto, know what I'm saying, of Long Beach. Salt Lake Street was one of the roughest streets I grew up on. I was born into gangbanging. Like I tell people all the time, it's like you have, like, when we got homegirls that allow homeboys to come hang out at their house while their kids there. We be there like 12 deep, 13 deep. That's how I grew up. That's how my house was. My mama was the homegirl. You see what I'm saying? So I grew up like that. And it's like the hood that I grew up under was like that was how they was founded. That was the time that they was founded. You know what I'm saying? Around the time that they was founded, they was creating they mark on the world and all that. So I got a chance to inhale all the bullshit, inhale all the nonsense, inhale all the chaos because that's all we had. And also, I tell a lot of people that everybody that started gang banging, they mostly started between the ages of 12 and 15. So these are children's leading other children's down a path of what they think is right, but in actuality, it's their ideology and belief that they build up in their head of what they want to do, how they want to run, what they call themselves running. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let me ask you this, Hobo. There were no ways out of that, right? There was no resources given to the inner city youth at that point in time.
No.
There was nothing there for you guys
No.
other than the homies.
King Park.
King Park. Yeah. That's pretty much all. But at the same time, the homies was there too. Like I tell people, we have four parts of our elements: our home, our religious place of worship, our school, and our community. And all four of those was mixed with people from our community or from the area where we stayed at. Pretty much, they was all polluted everywhere we went. This is how it was, but it was not as rough as it is now because back then when I was growing up, I watched older cats who had problems with each other catch what you call a fair one, which is a fair fade, a fair fight, and then afterwards shake hands and drink a beer and squash the beef, and there was no more beef. They was told to leave the beef right there where it was. It's like because of the misinterpretation of that get down and how other individuals from the second generation, which is the kids of the homies, and me and so on and so forth, and then the grandkids of the homies and my kids that came up later that got the overboil of it, the overboil of what was being taught, but misinterpreted. You see what I'm saying? You know how you pass a message to one person and by the time they get to the end of the line, it's something totally different. Mm-hmm. That's how it was then. The message that was taught, that was trying to be illustrated, you got to remember, it was by people that was little kids growing up, little kids that started a hood, that was trying to give an illustration of a foundation because they didn't want to go up under nobody else that was from some other city. They wanted to have their own rulership over their own kingdom. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Remember, Hobo, it was called Court in the Street.
Oh yeah, exactly. Court in the street.
Court in the street. So you go, you fight it out like he said, and then after that, you shake hands. You want to fight? No, I'm good. Okay, it wasn't about who won or who lost. It was about the fact that you stood up for yourself. And there would be so many people around, you wasn't getting jumped, and we would not let nobody just beat nobody just unconsciously. It was broken up immediately when one person got the upper hand.
So, exactly.
Even so, that's the kind of stuff that went on in the ghetto where I grew up, which is Long Beach, California. Let's not forget, Hobo, how many times I know you know this just like me. How many times would you grabbed up by the police and laid down on the ground with a gun to your temple? I can remember about 10 times or more for me.
Multiple times. You got to remember, I'm just a little kid. And I'm tall for my age, so they thinking I'm 15 and 16, but I'm 12, 11, and 10. Standing like 5'6", 5'7", 5'8", 6 feet. You see what I'm saying? So they mistaken me for a grown adult, and they putting pistols in my head, putting their feet in my back, all type of stuff. You see what I'm saying? I done got pulled over multiple times. Yeah. Right. I got pulled over multiple times in missing how they say
you fit the description.
Yeah, fit the description. I fit the description of somebody selling crack. I fit the description. I remember one time I was just walking from McDonald's. I was walking from McDonald's on Lemon and PCH. You remember that McDonald's over there?
Yep.
I had just walked there. Me and my little cousin, we walked there. We got some food, and it was this white police lady. She rolled by. She rolled by, and she started smiling at me. So I took it as a sign of her flirting. So I waved at her, and she smiled and kept going. So we go into McDonald's, get our food, and we walking towards the highway center from the McDonald's on PCH and Lemon. And these girls see me at the store and say, "Hey, hobo, come here, come here." So I'm thinking I'm a player, and I run across the street. By the time I get to the car where the girls at, 5 carloads of police swoop up on me. 5 carloads. My cousin's still on the other side of the street. 5 cars of police swoop up on me. They say, I said, "What's going on?" They said, "Get down, get down, get down." They got some guns drawn and everything. "Get down, get down." I said, "What for? What did I do?" I got down. They put the handcuffs on me. I said, "What are you arresting me for?" They said, "You fit the description of a robber." They brought the lady in the back, supposedly a lady in the back seat of the car to the parking lot of the store, and she was like, "Yeah, that's him." She said, "That's me." I said, "You tell that lady in the back seat of that car that when we go get the footage from McDonald's to prove that I just left McDonald's and I've been at McDonald's for at least like 30 minutes, I'm suing her." But what happened to save me was the white lady that came back. The white police lady said, pulled up to the car and see me sitting in, and she was like, "Why you got him in the back seat? He just left McDonald's."
Wow.
That's the only thing that saved me. If she never came back, I'd probably be just now getting out of jail because how they were trying to throw people my age up on a bus, up on their buses and railroaders. They done rolled a lot of my family members. They done took a lot of my family members down. I got a cousin that's sitting right now in jail for 30 years. You see what I'm saying? Multiple family members.
Rail dog.
Yeah, a gang of them.
Yeah,
So we grew up where me and Hobo grew up in the east side of Long Beach. That was the ghetto. We seen gang banging. We seen fights, people getting shot, police brutality. We didn't get killed then, but we got pulled over by the police. And then in the 80s, when the crack era started, that was some of the saddest things you ever seen, because me and Hobo both grew up with people who we seen, and as they got older, they were on crack, and it was sad. And I mean sad, like the Griffin sisters and just different girls and people that we grew up with. And it's like, wow. So we really did grow up in the ghetto for real.
The ghetto.
Nobody seen the stuff that we seen.
Yeah, exactly. We done seen black prominent businesses like Jordan Record Shop, Getty Kitchen, Kelly Kitchen. All these shops go out of business because of the crack era. The crack era came, all our black businesses that we had in Long Beach, California, like Neptune, P&G Fish Market. I can keep on naming names on top of names. VIP. They all were affected by the crack era. You see what I'm saying? We own a lot of homes where we were on the east side of Long Beach by Kings Park. When the crack era hit, most of those older folks that owned them homes, kids became crack addicts.
Yep.
Wow.
Kids became crack addicts. When they died, they sold the property for nothing.
Nothing. Gave it away, dang near.
So let's compare that to what we got going on as a pandemic, which is the fentanyl and the pill popping, right? Which is not a I would say is not a black epidemic, right?
Nope.
So unless you're a rapper or something, they popping them pills left and right. But anyways, they say that's a health crisis. The crack epidemic was not considered a health crisis, but they were locking people up and putting people in jail for being sick. And like you said, in Long Beach, everybody was losing their businesses. Is it because the value of the area went down, or they just didn't have any people to go into these places, Hobo?
No, it was because it was mostly black owned. You ain't getting the bigger picture, huh? It was gentrification from the start right then. So what they did was put crack in there to destroy us. Like you said, if you look at the title of what you posted, it said, "The Jews lived in the ghetto." Hitler said, The Jews are the black people, but they're not called Jews. They call the Jews of the earth. The Jews of the earth. Whenever we get the shining, like the Jews we are, that's when they start throwing dirt on top of those Jews and trying to find ways. We didn't introduce the crack to our community.
No.
We did not introduce crack cocaine to our community. They got some 15-year-old dude and turned him into a baller and sent him to his own community with a plan to destroy us, his own people.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it happened, and it was sad. It was really sad. Like I said, from some of our homies going to jail and some of them being on crack, and then even embalming fluid. Sherm came after that, which you would have to see that to really understand what that was like. I stayed on Wesley Drive, which was the #1 Sherm block in the city, and it was sad. Me and my sisters was real young, like 9, 10 years old, and we had guys standing right in front of our apartment complex with the Sherm hid in the bushes, and we would see them make sales all day while we played out in front. My daddy hated it, but that was our neighborhood. That was the ghetto, or like your mom said, low income sounds a better word. No, that we lived in it.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't looking toe up, but some parts of it didn't look toe up. You got to see, just because we come from Long Beach, they thought we were surfers and all that type of stuff, not knowing we was gangs. One of the roughest gangs in Southern California. You see what I'm saying? One of the roughest gangs that was ringing back then in the days. You see what I'm saying? So it was a lot of stuff that we seen. Like I remember one day walking to school, 6th grade. I was only in 6th grade. I'm walking to school, and I'm having to walk over the guts of my neighbor who just got killed the night before, and I'm sleeping in the living room, right? I'm sleeping in the living room. That's around the time when you had UHF and VHF TV only. You didn't have no cable TV.
Right.
You didn't have no cable TV.
Right.
So I stayed up and I was watching TV until the American flag came on. You remember that?
Yeah.
Until it turned white and fuzzy.
Yep.
Until it became full of white noise. I stayed up and watched that, right? And then I heard, "Mom!" I jumped up and run to my mom's room. My mom being ghetto like she is. "Bitch, go to bed." This is ghetto. She's normal. It's normal to her. I walked out to go to school. I can't go to school until hours later. They done got this man, finally took his body off the porch, and I got to walk out. My mom was the one that always cleaned the yard. She watered the yard. I got to walk out and walk over his guts before she washed down to go to school.
Let me ask you a quick question, Homo. How old are you now?
I'm 50 years old. 50 years wiser. I'm 50 years wiser. I'm 50 years wiser. Because only thing getting old is shoes, clothes, and dummies who remain the same. I'm 50 years wiser.
50-year wiser. Well, explain to some of the people out there how you made it from Long Beach to be.
Tell them, Homo. Tell them. I know your story.
50 years old, man.
You know how I made it? I made it because it's a mental transmutation. I call it mental transmutation because at first, you got to understand that people are no more than what they're aware of and choose to do with themselves. Because what you're aware of and choose to do, you put the energy, which is the emotions, into the actions and do it. So once I understood that and figured it out, I started putting my energy and my awareness elsewhere besides in the BS. So I started grooming myself to go into different other worlds of mind, of awareness. I started studying. I started off with like trying to study the Christianity movement. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't fit right with my soul. So then I went into the Hebrew Israelites. It didn't fit right with my soul. Then I went into the African liberal arts stuff, but it didn't fit right with my soul. But then when I went into that ancient kinetic science and I did my DNA research and figured out that I was Ethiopian and Egyptian, that's what fucked me up. I was like, hold up. So the more you go out to know yourself, I decided to know myself, not what I was scorned with by my environment. not the stuff that I grew up with as a child. That's why I tell people, until you let go of what you was taught as a child or learned as a child, you will never outgrow your immature self, because everything you learned as a child was immature learning. You need to outgrow that. So when I started to outgrow that, my mind started to expand. When I started to use the four attributes, which is peace, oneness, critical thinking, and emotional control, my mind expanded. I started to grow from inside out instead of outside in, if you understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
Right.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely
I
understand.
start,
So what would you tell as your 50 year old or 50-year wiser self? What would you have told your 12-year-old self?
man, come up out of this. This ain't right for you. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Stop listening to them fools that's telling you this. They just trying to hold you back. Don't believe that conversation. Stay on the right track. Keep your head focused. Don't ever fall back. Hold your peace at all times. Stay calm and relaxed through all challenging situations. Be one with everything, because everything is consciousness. Always use your mind. Critically think. Don't just assume. Don't listen to the hearsay, because people will tell you anything to make you fight for their cause. And always control your emotions. I would have told. That's what I would have told my younger self. The
Okay.
stuff that I know now, that's what I would have told my younger self. But the four main things, like I said, is always stay calm and relaxed through challenging situations. Always know that you won with everything, because everything is consciousness. Always use critical thinking, F hearsay, and always control your emotions. Don't let your emotions run wild.
Yeah,
Right.
my mother always told me, when emotions go when emotions go up, logic goes out the door.
Exactly.
Logic
Logic
goes out
over
the door.
emotions.
Right.
Logic over emotion.
Right.
So how do we take this? You as an OG, and us as older people. How do we take this knowledge and try to teach it to the youth now? How do we stop the cycle, man? That's what is this? What are some of the solutions? Because we've got all kinds of fucking problems. What are the solutions?
Well, one thing I see Hobo doing now is he do a lot of talking to the younger youth all the time, trying to lead them down the right path, because some of the older dudes when we were growing up, they wasn't trying to do nothing but give us some crack to sell or etc. So I'm proud of you, man, that you change and that you do everything you talk about is uplifting, and you don't be putting up with no negativity, period. I'm proud of you, man. I'm really proud of you, for real. I ain't just saying that because you're on the show. I'm saying that because we didn't know each other real well, but everybody we kick it around, we know, like Peach and Poopy. I used to
Yeah,
hang with Poopy
yeah,
and Perm and Peach and them. Them is my peoples from way back. So
yeah,
them is your family. So we are
yeah.
connected to the same people. And I'm proud of you, brother, for real.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah, yeah,
appreciate that in a real way.
Hobo. I don't know you from Adam, but I really appreciate what you're talking and what you're speaking. And again, I think it's to have that maturity, and to reach the age you have, coming from the circumstances that you were in. We still got kids that are in those circumstances, and we got to be able to package what you've got and give it to them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like it's like like you said. I talk and I say it a lot on my Facebook page, but I'm showing it through my actions, because you gotta show them how it works. You know what I'm saying? You gotta show them that it really works. But the way you package it is, you gotta give them a teaspoon of everything, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. That's why I created my remix of my City by the Sea song, because my original version, it was a song based on battle rapping, but the newer version is based on giving enlightenment on on the issues at hand. And then after I give you the enlightenment on the issues at hand, I'm giving them a step-by-step cure to each problem that's affecting us, and how to get to it. It's about shedding light on what's really going on. Because some people are so lost because they're unaware of what's really going on, and they only aware of the BS that they learned in their first three stages of life, which is infancy, childhood, and adolescence. They haven't reached their first young adulthood, mid adulthood, or old adulthood yet. They still stuck mentally in adolescent and childhood mode. So
Right.
they don't know. It's just like you telling a child, you did wrong. What I do wrong? I don't know what I did wrong. know what I'm saying? That's the same thing you doing. You dealing with grown-ups still stuck in their adolescent and childhood mode. They have
Right.
not grown up. And they teaching these kids the same thing. So somebody has to be the light. So I turn my light on in front. Like I tell her, I'm not trying to be no Messiah. I'm not trying to be no black savior. So I can die for a gang of niggas that's gonna go back and do the same thing once I'm gone. Look what happened when Malcolm X did what he did. They did got worse. Look what happened when Malcolm X did what he did. They got worse. It's like they don't value us. They value those that live by the outer them. Those that go on the inside of them and change themselves. They don't respect them. They look at them because you got to see if Malcolm X can go from being a crackhead pimp. No, he was a heroin addict pimp. Know what I'm saying? Wearing a perm. If he can go from that to leading a nation of people and helping them change through example. Know what I'm saying? And look how they did him at the end. Look how they did him at the end. They put smut on his name and they murdered him. You see what I'm saying? His
Right.
own people, they said. His own people. So what you think my people gonna do? That's what I said. I'm not trying to be no black messiah. I'm just trying to be what I am, a minister, because I am a minister, you know what I'm saying? A life coach, but I'm a minister of life. And I show through my examples. I gotta show through my examples because actions speak louder than words. No matter what I tell you, actions speak louder than words. I tell people, do I look 50? Do I look 50? No. It's because of meditation. I meditate. I'm showing them through my actions that this stuff really works. You see what I'm saying? I'm showing through my actions that everything I'm speaking on is facts, not belief, because to believe in something is to assume and guess. To have faith in something is to trust in something that hasn't been proven. When you can prove anything by using the mind of God, which is logical thinking. Logical thinking. As long as you sit back and logically think out something, you are doing as God did when he created everything and put it in harmony, which is oneness, unification. So you walking in the image of God, which is the will of God when you live by peace, oneness, critical thinking, and emotional control, which is spiritual power. And a lot of individuals don't know this because they haven't thought to activate this. But since I saw it and I understand it, because at first I used to tell people stuff to see if they're gonna go test it and see if it work on them, but it didn't benefit. It did not benefit me.
Right.
But when I started to apply it to my life, it benefited me. That's why I show people. And then I love when people ask, what are you doing? I do this. Because when they ask, now they are open to receive. When they don't ask, a lot of people don't want to hear it. And I go through my Facebook page and I see a lot of people quoting stuff that I done said years ago. And it's a gang of other individuals that I thought would never change. A lot of people that I thought wasn't even listening to me. And I'm looking at them saying, hold up, God does not punish, reward, or judge. It is you. I said that years ago, because God does not punish, reward, or judge nobody. It is you through your cause and that create the effects. If you have a positive cause, you get a positive effect. If you have a negative cause, you get a negative effect. That's called divine justice. Karma. There's so many words, but individuals, it take them a long time. Like I said, I just plant seeds, but I show through my actions. When people see me shining, and I don't need no diamonds or nothing like that or no flossy car. I'm just shining by mental transmutation.
I don't want to interrupt you, but we like to read the comments. I had a comment from Art Ryan that said, I love what Hobo is saying about critical thinking. This is a skill set that isn't taught anymore. Without it, an individual will never be an individual and reach their full potential, will always be stuck by their limitations and lost in the crowd. We need more of this. So, Hobo, it's about our time that we're going to get off the line, but just go and give me your last words before we let you roll.
Yeah, we really appreciate you coming on and taking the time, Hobo, man.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
knowledge. I appreciate you guys. All I can do is say, always remember to use the will of God, which is the 4 tools of God: peace, oneness, critical thinking, and emotional control. And watch how your life change overnight.
All right, homie. Much love, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on, brother.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Appreciate you. All right, man.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right.
Wow. That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'm glad Hobo came on. And I'm glad that everybody, Art, thank you for participating and shouting them out. That's an achievement, man, to come from some of the things that he's come from to be 50 years old, right? So it's amazing to hear those kind of stories, and we'd like to hear more of those stories. So why don't you guys, like I said, next week, I don't know if you saw it, drummer, but next week we've got Joya coming back on.
Yes, I did see that.
Okay, so Joya is going to come back on. She's going to talk about financial literacy again, and then we could probably ask her, because she is a financial coach. Ask her what we could do, to get together, and because that's what we want to do. We ultimately want to grow this so we can take people like Hobo and have him speak at different places for different youth. It's showing his experience and be able to, compensate him for his time. Because a lot of young kids need to hear some things like that. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are watching the show that you may have a piece to say. And it doesn't have to just be over the internet. We want to be able to have venues and have certain places where we'll be able to teach these sort of things, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's the trades, different things like that. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, let's also not forget that you can still comment. You can still comment on this show after the show is over, for weeks, for months down the line. It'll be on our Idiotbox television page. Sharif, what you say? Go back to Sharif, Troy.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you book my and you tweet my, you are very intelligent.
You're very, very intelligent.
Exactly.
Very intelligent.
Exactly.
If you've got both the street smarts and book smarts, there's no stopping you.
No stopping.
So I think it's about time for Sharif to do his thing.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for watching the song. We're on to the episode 57. See you next week.
Peace. My birthday next week, y'all. Get ready for that birthday celebration. I'll be the double nickel. Y'all have a good night. Thanks for joining in again. Hobo, much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Hobo. Happy birthday, Mama Jones. And we out.
Happy birthday, Mama.
We're in a lot of trouble because less than 3% of you people read books. Listen to me. Television is not the truth. Television is a goddamn amusement park. Television is a circus, a carnival, a traveling troupe of acrobats, storytellers, dancers, singers, jugglers, sideshow freaks, lion tamers, and football players. We'll tell you anything you want to hear. We lie like hell. We'll tell you any shit you want to hear. We deal in illusions, man. None of it is true. You're beginning to believe the illusions. This is mass madness, you maniac. In God's name, you people are the real thing. We are the illusion.